Want your bird to fly to a set location? Find out how to train it in this video. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Parrot Teacher. I am David and today we are doing the last of my core skills video series. We're already there. If you're a new bird owner or you haven't explored the other videos, do watch the entire playlist. These are core skills I feel that every parrot and their owner should know. Although we kind of forage in some ways as well, you know, the way we feed. Regardless, some of you have asked where the birds are in these videos. I'm just quick firing these videos, so it'll be too much fuss for them to come in and out all the time, although obviously you will see them in the B-roll and doing some lovely training. In this video, I am talking about stationing, and stationing is basically just getting your bird to fly to a set location when you want them to on cue, which is basically when you ask them to. It's a really useful skill for your parrot to develop. Imagine there's a situation where there's something dangerous going on in the environment, they can't come to you, you can just tell your bird to station to a location in the room and they can fly there. It's also really useful for cage maintenance, especially if you have a parrot in a large aviary or a very large cage where they can fly, or even if they can't, and you want to do some maintenance in there and maybe a bit fussy about it or a bit funny, you can just get them stationed to that location with a high value reward, and then you can get on with what you need to do. Stationing is a really useful skill and it can be part of a great training regime where you get your bird to recall to you, discussed in the previous video, then station back to a location, and it helps build a lot of fitness. It's also very useful in free flight as well if you plan on doing that at any point in the future. So with your stationing training, you're basically doing a recall in reverse. So you'll have a surface, we like to use the back of our chairs, whatever is a nice stable level surface. And then you have your parrot on your hand, and then you basically ask them to hop off onto the surface. You can do this with luring initially, it's completely fine, don't worry about that. People seem to think luring's like evil or something. When you're initially training behaviour, it's completely fine, it just needs to be phased out later so you know it's been trained. So whatever you have to do, just get them to hop on for a treat, lure them onto it, and then reinforce them for it. And then that's the start of that training process. So you've got your bird hopping onto it, so next you introduce your cue, so you'll just say Scampi station for example, they'll hop on, you'll then say good and you'll give them a treat. Then you get the whole process, you know, you've got what you're asking them to do, they do the behaviour, they get a marker to say they've done it well, and they get a nice reinforcer. And like I've said for all these videos, sorry if I'm repeating myself for anyone who's only watching part of it, you want something nice and high value to make it worthwhile, because they don't want to work for free, no one does. Make it worth their while to do this. So once they're hopping on consistently, then you're doing that leap of faith in the recall in reverse, and because they're probably already flying around, this is going to be a lot easier for them and it'll be a lot less stressful and probably happen a lot quicker. So you just increase the distance gradually in small, what we call successive approximations. That's how almost every creature on this planet learns. You just take the distance a little bit further away, get them to hop, go through the whole process we just talked about, and then increase the distance more and more. With regards to distance, I mean, the sky's the limit. As long as your parrot's doing well, you can keep on increasing that distance so they're flying to that station, but just make sure you're doing it consistently and try and phase out the luring straight after the hop phase. Once they've done the hop phase, you don't really want to be luring them anymore. You want them to be on that perch or that surface before you give them the treat and after you've marked the behaviour. As usual, troubleshooting section. Some people have problems with the leap of faith bit. Again, just like with recall, go back to what was last successful. Make sure that your reinforcer is high value enough, and make sure you're being consistent and clear enough in what you're asking your parrot to do. They may not understand what you're asking them to do, so that's on us as trainers. So we need to make sure that we're very clearly communicating through our body language, through our positioning, what we want. Our body position can be a problem, so make sure you most successfully side on with your hand facing outwards, but it can vary from each individual parrot and their general circumstances. Finally, with regards to troubleshooting, a lot of parrot owners and trainers find that lightly tilting their hand can help. This is fine. I sometimes do it with Pickles, that is basically her cue, which I don't have to give a verbal one for. But here's the big but: you do not want to be tipping them off your hand. You do not want to be making your hand unstable. That will affect other training create other training problems. A light tilt is fine to indicate what you want them to do and where you want them to go. Any more than that can cause all sorts of issues, including them thinking your hand's unstable, not of great perch. But just make sure whatever you choose, you're cueing them very carefully and you're doing it responsibly. Just to summarise, go through the whole cycle of behaviour discussed in this video and other videos. Make sure it's nice and clear and consistent. Take it in small steps and go back steps if you have to, and you'll have your birds stationing all over the house. Sometimes out of sight, just saying station, they'll fly into that room and go there. very useful for safety and very useful for free flight considerations in the future. Any comments on this series or this video, I'd love to hear from you, but in the meantime, take care and see you later.